Hello, welcome to Shad Life. Well, today I have the State 4130 All Road in the stand. I actually have it there for a reason. I'm now realizing I should probably flip it 180 degrees because I'm going to work on the brakes. One of the things, and if you've been following my channel, you might already know this about this bike, is I cannot get the brakes to work for crap. And I've replaced the calipers to TRP spires, and I put compressionless housing on, and I still can't get them to work that great. I would just chalk it up to being because they're mechanical, right? And you'd think, well, mechanical brakes suck. But I have a Salsa Fargo with the exact same brake calipers, and the brakes work amazing on that bike. Like, they work really, really good. So I'm starting to go down the next path, and that is I want to try different rotors and different pads. So these are TRP rotors. They're the really nice ones. They got the little, I don't know even what you call these little cutouts or whatever, but you know, these are the floating style discs, so on and so forth. 160, which is what's on this bike. And then I got some organic pads to put on the brakes. So this is going to be my last attempt to try to make these brakes work better. They've gradually gotten better. Like the original State brakes that were on here were just terrible. So I replaced those with these TRPs, and then I realized that it wasn't compressionless housing. They were kind of squishy, so I put compressionless housing on, and now they work better than they did, but they still just don't work that great. Like if I'm bombing down a hill and I grab both brake levers really hard, I can't come to a fast stop. It slows me down, and then I eventually come to a stop, but it's not like you would really want it to be, where you have that control. You can even lock up the wheels if you have to. So I'm gonna do this, and hopefully they work better. So yeah, in this process I'll show you how to replace the brake pads. The rotors are pretty straightforward. You just remove the bolts and put new bolts on. But the brakes, it looks like it might be fairly straightforward. I guess I don't know yet until I do it. That's what I like to do, is I like to figure this stuff out as I go. They should be relatively easy to replace, but we will find out. Wow, that saves a lot of time using this tool. So I'm going to see if I can figure this out. It looks like you got to pull this pin out. I have a needle nose for that. And then over on the other side, you have a Allen screw or hex bolt or whatever. And that'll pull all the way through. And I have a feeling that will allow this cover to come off. And then the brake pads are right inside there. Not sure if I'm going to pull them up this way or push them down. The brake cable does go right down the middle, so that's a little to the side, so probably will be able to do it that way, but that's what I suspect. So let me get in there and I'll see. So this is what it looks like once I took the bolt out, and can see the top of the pads and the little spring inside. So my guess is that I just push these out the bottom, because they definitely don't look like they come out the top unless these springs would come out, but I don't think we want those. Those are probably the main springs that push this whole mechanism back, because that little spring for the pads isn't going to be enough to do that. So these springs I'm hoping we don't have to mess with. And it's just pushing the pads out the bottom. I can already feel them, and there they are. So that's actually going to be a super simple replacement. So I will get the new pads put the spring in there and push them back up in here. So this is the spring in the pads. The pads don't look worn much at all. I mean, these brakes aren't that old. And I've been, I've got quite a few miles on them, but the pads definitely look okay. I'm gonna keep them because if the organic ones don't work very good, I'll do a little filing of these to kind of give them a fresh start, and then put them back in and try these, because these are their stock TRP pads. But I want to try the organic ones. I've done that before. I've put organic pads in, and they don't last as long, but they tend to have a little better bite. So here are the new pads, and it comes with the spring already set up, which is kind of cool. So I don't need to use that spring. I can just use this one. The other thing that's nice about the way they have this set up, they have this little clip on here to keep it together. You really do not want to touch the surface of these pads. Any kind of oil from your hands or anything like that that get on there will make your brakes not work. It'll contaminate them. And so you don't ever want to touch the surface of the pads. And then you also don't ever want to touch the surface of the rotor. This still is in the package. I'm not actually touching it because the plastic is still on there. But you don't want to ever touch the surface of the rotor or the surface of the pads. You always want to keep your oils on there. If you do, or from being on there, if you ever do accidentally touch it, get alcohol wipes or something like that and clean the rotor, clean the pads, things like that. And like I said earlier, you can always file the pads if they get kind of grimed up and stuff, and give them a fresh start. If you do file them, you do want to go through the break-in procedure again. So cool. So now I'm just sliding this back up in there, trying to make sure it's lined up as close as I can, and then I should be able to put that cover back on and put the bolt right back. Well, as I suspected, that was a super easy brake pad swap. Let's see if I can get underneath. You can see them underneath there, sticking out a little bit. So yeah, that was super easy. One thing that's nice about mechanical brakes, you can squeeze them without the wheel being in there. Don't ever do that with hydraulic brakes because they auto adjust. These don't. So I manually adjust them here and on this side here to get it dialed in, and so they don't auto adjust. So as your pads wear, if you feel that your lever is going too close to the grip before they grab, you have to actually come down here and manually move the pads in on both sides to give it better bite. Or you could just use the barrel adjuster. You got a couple of options there. So there we go, new rotor and pads, and that was super quick install. Took me probably, well, if I wasn't filming clips here and there, it'd probably take me less than 10 minutes to switch the rotor and brake pads. But yeah, works super slick. So there you have it. I did the front. I still have the rear to do, but I just wanted to show you the process and just swapping that out. Super quick and easy, leaving my tools all over on the floor. But speaking of tools, this is just a Black & Decker little hand drill, and I actually bought this to assemble some IKEA furniture because if you've ever installed IKEA furniture, there's a lot of like screwing and drilling and this and that. So I got this for that purpose, but it now sits in my shop, and I just have the hex in there all the time for the rotor bolts, and it has been so much nicer to use this to remove and install rotors. And then once I have them installed, of course I want to torque the bolts down by hand, but at least it gets over that initial bit where you're just sitting there spinning the tool over and over again. So yeah, it's nice to have handy tools that just make your job a little bit easier. So there you have it. I still have to get out and ride this. I will have to go through the bed-in process again, and we actually got snow the other day on Valentine's Day, but it's going to get warm next week, and all this snow is going to melt. So I'll try to get this out, do the bed-in, and then let you know whether the brakes actually work better or not, because it kind of sucks the way they work now. So I'm really hoping this does the trick, because it'll be nice to have the brakes work good on this bike. If this doesn't work, I really have no option but to just start from the levers all the way and just replace everything and have whole new brakes, because not having good brakes is just not safe, especially on a drop bar bike where you're easily doing 20 plus miles per hour on the road, right? And on downhills, I've gotten well over 40, 45, close to 50 miles per hour on this bike. So yeah, you need good brakes. Appreciate your support for my channel. Please like and subscribe. Peace.